Hello dear students and welcome to this new lesson. Today we are going to see a grammar lesson under Unit 8. And this is of course for Common Core students, and the title of this lesson is Question Tags. I don't know, I'm not sure if you can guess the meaning or the sense of this lesson using only the title, but what I can say is that question tags is what I'm going to say right now. So, you are watching me at home, aren't you? So, if you notice this sentence, you are watching me from home. And I said at the end, aren't you? Which means I am quite sure that you are watching me from home right now, but I am not 100% sure. That's why I use a question tag. Anyway, let's take some time to learn more about question tags. And for this lesson, you will need your textbook window on the Word, a notebook of your choice, and of course, a pen. So the first part, negative question tags. We can say question tags as a title, or we can say just negative question tags because they are all of the time in the negative form. So, question tags are used when asking for agreement or confirmation. So, as I said before, you are watching me from home, but I should ask for your agreement or your confirmation because I am not 100% sure. That's why I use question tags. So question tags are used for agreement or confirmation. Now, a question tag consists of two parts. The first part is the positive statement, and the second part, of course, is a negative question tag. So let's go back to the first example. I said, you are watching me from home right now. This is a positive statement because I use the verb you are watching. You are watching. So this is affirmative, or we say positive. And at the end, I use a negative question tag to get your confirmation or agreement about what I said before. So I said, aren't you? It is in the negative form, aren't you? So we start with the positive statement and then we finish with the negative tag. So before we start, you have to keep in mind that these question tags are three major forms. There are three types, you can say. The first part or the first type is when you use the verb to be, either in the present or in the past, okay? So for instance, you are a student. Imagine that someone said, you are a student, but this person is not sure if you are a student or not. And he continues or she continues, aren't you? So they are looking for your confirmation. Maybe from the look of your clothes, or maybe you are holding a backpack or going to school and so on, and they say you are a student, aren't you? Okay? So this is the way we use the question tag. And this is the first type or the first category in which we use the verb to be. So you are a student, aren't you? He is very busy, isn't he? So, if you are talking to the person, or using the personal pronoun you finish with you. If you are talking about the person he, you should finish with he, and so on. But pay attention that there is something between the positive statement and the negative question. Yes, of course, it is the comma. We call it comma. So, comma should be always between the positive statement and the negative tag. So, he was happy Wasn't he? Okay, so they were surprised. Weren't they? So you see, we take the verb to be from the first section, which is the positive statement, and we give the negative form of it, okay, in the negative tag or the question tag, and between this and that we use a comma. Good. Now, the next section or the next category is when we use the rest of the verbs, okay? So the first part, the verb to be. Now the second part is using the rest of the verbs. So for instance, you speak English, but I am not sure if you speak English or not, or I still have some doubt, okay? So I say, don't you? So unlike what we have seen earlier with the verb to be, we take to be and we put it in the negative form. Are, aren't, is, isn't, was, wasn't, were, weren't. We don't do it like this in the next category because we have the verb not to be, so we use don't. You speak English, don't you? And if the person is he or she or it, of course, we don't use don't, we use doesn't, which means does not, okay? So he studies Spanish, doesn't he? Okay? The next example, you studied, this is the past form of study. You studied for the test, didn't you? So you see here that don't, doesn't, and didn't, they all belong to the verb do, okay? Do, don't. But always this section here, or this part here, is devoted to the negative, okay? It is always in the negative. So the verb speak is in the present, and it is affirmative. Now, the verb do should be in the present, but in the negative. He studies. So studies is the verb study in the present simple. Now, don't should be, again, in the present simple, but this time, because the person is he, so we use doesn't instead of don't. Because he, she, it, they all go with doesn't or does. Good. And the last part, you studied. So studied is the verb to study in the simple past. So again, do should be in the simple past. But as I said before, always in the negative form, okay? Always in the negative form. And thus we write didn't. So didn't is the verb to do in the negative because it is a question tag, and in the simple past because the first verb is in the simple past. Good. Now, let's go to the last category of question tags, and it is the one used with what? So, if you take a look at these verbs or words that we have, so have, had, will, can, could, must, should, and would. So we notice from these words that it is about models. Yes, I know that you have seen models before, and this is how we use models or how we use the question tags when the sentence starts with a model, okay? So, let's see the first example. You have studied all week. Again, comma, and we go to the question tag. Haven't you? So what happened here? Have takes the negative form, haven't. It's quite easy, I think. You had arrived before he left, hadn't you? So here we had verb had, or the model had, and in the question tag it becomes hadn't. Easy. Had, hadn't. Have, haven't. Now, you will pass the exam. Will, it is used for the future. Okay? Will, you will pass the exam, won't you? So if you look for the negative of will, it is won't or will not. Okay? So you will pass the exam, won't you? The negative. You can speak 2 languages, can't you? So can in the positive statement and can't in the question tag. It's a piece of cake. You could do it for me, couldn't you? So the model could, and in the question tag, the negative of it is couldn't. We must be patient. Mustn't we? Yes, the negative form of must is must not or mustn't. You should go now, shouldn't you? Again, should becomes shouldn't. You would like a new job, wouldn't you? So would becomes wouldn't. But there is something important here. In all the 3 categories, the negative auxiliaries that we have here, and verbs in the tag questions. So all these verbs or auxiliaries that we have in the question tags part are usually in the contracted form. The contracted form stands for the short form. Okay. So let's go back. Instead of saying, you are a student, are not you? It's not quite practical in language, okay? So we use it in the contracted form, on the short form, and we say, aren't you? He is very busy. Is not he? It's better to say, isn't he? Okay? Again, this is for the verb to be. Now, the rest of the verbs, you speak English. Do not you? See? It's like of lagging, in language. It's not fluent. So more fluent is saying, you speak English, don't you? He studies Spanish, doesn't he? You see? So it is, again, instead of saying, he studies Spanish, does not he? It's not practical. And again, for the last category, which is the models, you have studied all week, haven't you? You see? So instead of saying, have not you, let's write, you have studied all week, have not you? It's better to say, you have studied all week, haven't you? And let's take, for instance, we must be patient, mustn't we? What if we don't use the contracted form? We say, we must be patient. Must not we? Must not we? You see, it's so long, and it's lagging, it's not fluent. So it's better to say, we must be patient. Mustn't we? Okay? So, as we said before, pay attention to this part of the negative tag or the question tag. It should be in the negative, and it is related to the verb in the tense and in the form, and of course it is used after a comma. It finishes with a question mark, needless to say, and it is used in the contracted form. Should I repeat one more time? Yes. So the negative tag or the question tags. They have some specifications. Number one, they come after comma, 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 comma. They come after comma. Number two, they are finished with a question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Three, they are similar to the verb, or they follow the verb in the tense. If the verb is in the present tense, they are in the present. If the verb is a model, they should be model auxiliaries. If the verb in the past, they should be in the past. Okay? And number four, they are used in the contracted form or the short form to make your language more fluent. Because why do we use or why do we need these question tags? They don't bring a new meaning. Instead, they help us improve our language. You see? And English language is known for its fluency, its speed of speaking, okay? It is better spoken fast. That's why we use the question tags. Now, before we finish, we will have some exceptions to remember. So these are the two exceptions that we have to remember. You have to keep this in your mind, please. So if you use the personal pronoun I with the verb to be, like I'm late, the negative tag should be aren't I. It is quite weird because we say I am, not I are, but we cannot say I am in the negative form here. Okay? So we say I am late, I am a student. Aren't I, not I'm not I or something else, okay? So we use aren't I. So whenever we have the verb to be, this is the first exception. Whenever we have the verb to be with the personal pronoun I, the question tag should be aren't I. Okay. Again, another exception. When we say let's do something, let's go, like in the example, let's go home. Shall we? So let's is changed with the word or the model shall. Okay? Let's go home. Shall we? It is more polite in some situations, okay, to say shall we? Let's go, because let's may sound sometimes like an order or a command. But to make it, more polite, we use the question tag shall we. So we have two exceptions in this lesson. When we use the verb to be with the personal pronoun I, it becomes in the question tag aren't I. When we use let's, it becomes shall we. So be careful, okay, about these situations. Now we will move to the first exercise, in which you have to put what you have learned into practice. And the question here, or what you have to do here, is match the sentences with their correct question tags. So we have some sentences here. Your father is a dentist. Morocco is in North Africa. Let's learn English. I am near your house. These are your friends. This is the first part of the sentence, and these are the question tags. Aren't I? Isn't it? Aren't they? Isn't he? Shall we? So you will take your time to match between the sentences and the best question tags for them. In order to do this, you will have a few seconds. See you afterwards. All right, the time is up and let's do the correction. So the first one, your father is a dentist. So the first thing that you should ask yourself, what is the person in the sentence? So the person in the sentence is your father. And your father, if you want to convert it to a personal pronoun, it should be, of course, not she, it should be he. So that's why you can help yourself this way. And you can say, your father is a dentist, isn't he? Isn't he? Morocco is in North Africa. So Morocco is not a human, and for animals and objects we use it. So Morocco is in North Africa, isn't it? Let's learn English. So here we have the exception. We have the exception that we have seen before. So let's is used with shall we. So let's learn English. Shall we? I am near your house. Again, the exception, we had the personal pronoun I and the verb to be. So, aren't I? I am near your house, aren't I? These are your friends. So, which people here, or who are the people we are talking about here? We are talking about friends. And friends, to what do they refer? To which personal pronoun? Of course, they are plural, so they. These are your friends, aren't they? Good. I hope you got all of the questions answered correctly and matched correctly. Now let's see the second exercise, okay, in which you have to complete the sentences using question tags. Now you have to do everything by yourself, okay? So you have these sentences, and you should complete them with question tags. There are no choices here. You have to do it by yourself. See you after the countdown. So the time is up, and we should see what you have done, okay? Let's compare what you have written to this correction. So you love pizza. We have the verb love. This is not the verb to be. So when we use verbs except modals, except verb to be, we use the verb do to complete the question tag. So, you love pizza, don't you? And of course, it should be always in the negative. He can play the guitar. So we have the modal can. Can't he? They were at home. So the verb to be here, were. They were at home, weren't they? We will arrive early. Again, will is a modal. Won't we? The opposite of will is won't. She walked to school yesterday. Didn't she? The verb to walk in the past. Children study at home, don't they? COVID-19 is a virus. Yes, isn't it? Isn't it or isn't it? Because we are talking about an object or an animal. In this case, we use it. I am tall, aren't I? So, aren't I is used with I with the verb to be in the present. We should stay indoors, shouldn't we? Let's play tennis. Let's becomes shall. Shall we? Let's play tennis. Shall we? People watch TV. Didn't they? Tom knows the answer, doesn't he? So I hope again you got all of the question tags written correctly in your notebook. Now it is time for you to work at home, okay? And take your textbook, okay? You go to page 101, okay, 101, and here you find tag questions, okay, in the bottom of the paper, okay, of this page. And here we have some examples, and you do the question tags about yourself at home. I hope the idea of question tags was clear, and now it is time for me to say thank you and be safe, okay? Bye bye and see you next time.